to talk about cortisol because it is such a hot topic lately on social media. I'm seeing so many health influencers or like wellness girlies talking about lowering your cortisol and they're fear mongering you. So I just want to kind of clear up fact and fiction and let you know what's actually going on with your cortisol. So, cortisol is a stress hormone that is made by your adrenal glands. It is very important and beneficial. We would not be able to survive without it because our hormones really work together in symphony. So, we need them to all be like cohesively working together. Cortisol helps you regulate your energy levels, balance your blood sugar, metabolism, inflammation, and blood pressure, which is obviously very important. And it naturally like rises and falls all day long, just throughout the day. So if someone is wanting you to like test cortisol, or if you're curious about testing cortisol, you essentially like you can't really capture it from like a singular blood sample at one point in time. You have to take multiple likely urine samples throughout the day to capture that level multiple times a day. So it's highest in the morning because it actually gets us out of bed. It helps us wake up. It increases our energy, our heart rate. It like gives us that drive to get up and get going. But then it naturally declines throughout the day, and then it's the lowest at night to just help us sleep. That's when we start making melatonin. We're not really making as much cortisol. It's only a problem when you have high cortisol, extremely high cortisol for a prolonged period of time, which would be like chronic stress. And there are a few symptoms that are sort of related to this, like having trouble with sleep, feeling like wired but tired, that feeling, but like so you're kind of sleepy but you can't go to bed, sugar cravings, energy crashes. However, short-term cortisol spikes are not harmful to you. So if you feel stressed and you can kind of like bring it back down, it's not harmful. I also see on social media thrown around a lot that like people posting pictures of themselves and comparisons going, I had moon face and I fixed it. My cortisol was high and I fixed it. But really that moon face like terminology is associated with Cushing syndrome, which is a condition where your cortisol is high. It only affects like 40 to 70 out of a million people. Okay, so it's like very, very, very rare, but I see a lot of social media girlies trying to say they had moon face or they had high cortisol, and I'm like, no, you probably didn't. You probably just had, like a rounder face when you were younger, you know what I mean? Um, so that's kind of just to kind of bust some of those myths around what it is, symptoms of high cortisol. The best way you can keep your cortisol balanced is to sleep well. So prioritize sleep. That's number one. Because it's kind of linked to your sleep patterns, it rises when you wake and it lowers when you are ready for bed. It really does help to have a consistent sleep routines, not only sleeping 8+ hours, but have like a consistent bedtime wake time. That helps with hormone regulation in general. Also, eat balanced meals. Try to avoid long gaps without food. This kind of goes back to that schedule. So make sure your meal timing is fairly consistent day to day, breakfast, lunch, dinner, maybe snacks in between if you're a snacker. I know I am. So you just want to make sure that you're regular in that regard, as regular as you can be. And then try to take care of your stress, take care of yourself, do deep breathing, meditate, light walks, stuff like that, where you can just kind of escape. If you have stressors in your life that you can remove, obviously do that. If you can't remove it, then try to just take care of yourself and manage your stress. Maybe go to therapy. There's obviously we could do a whole other talk on stress management, but also try to limit caffeine and alcohol as much as you can. If you're having way too much caffeine in the morning, you can kind of mess with that. It's a stimulant, so obviously it's going to increase your heart rate. It can mess up your hormones if you're way overdoing it. The limit each day is like 400 milligrams of caffeine per day, which is quite high. Honestly, a cup of coffee is like 80 milligrams or so. So obviously listen to your body and do what you can tolerate. And like, if you feel like it's impacting your stress and you feel like on edge from it, then you're probably drinking too much. And then caffeine or alcohol, is obviously a no-brainer. It's really not good for us anyway. And I'm saying that as somebody who does enjoy alcohol and does enjoy an occasional glass of wine, but yeah, is what it is. I'm not going to be a hypocrite about it, but try to limit alcohol. And then get morning sunlight as much as you can. This kind of coincides with that cortisol first thing in the morning, and it helps with your circadian rhythm, your sleep patterns, helps you just like wake up better. And that's pretty much it for cortisol. That's really all you need to worry about, all you need to know. It's really not something that most of us need to worry about. The best thing I would say is just sleep and stress, like focus on those two. And then if you have a fitness tracker device, like I wear the Aura Ring, it's pretty fabulous at telling you what your stress looks like each day based on your heart rate. So that's some really interesting data. And I think personally that is a kind of a better way to like look at stress and see how often you're stressed or how many hours of the day you're stressed out. And that can tell you a lot. If you have that data in front of you, you know what to change. So just my 2 cents on cortisol. Obviously, let me know if you have any other questions.